Hello, this is Krista coming to you today to talk about the dangers of donating items to or giving items away that you've once worn to a person you know or at a consignment shop. And the risk is because if someone's doing witchcraft against you, whether or not you know it or not, they can use that item that you've once worn to lay curses on a person. And so I've learned the hard way, and I felt the Holy Spirit's prompting to share this with people to not do the same, repeat my mistakes. There are people who, we have hidden enemies and obvious enemies in life. And especially if a person's a believer in Jesus Christ, you will have more enemies. People will hate you for no reason, and people will attempt to curse a Christian. And one of the ways they do that is to take items that belong to that person that they wore, as well as their hair, nails, nail clippings, a variety of things that once belonged to a person. The more they have, and then a photograph from social media or some other location, put that on an altar and lay curses on a person. And so it's dangerous. I've learned the hard way to really reconsider selling clothes I once wore at a consignment shop. It's just sort of a habit. It's something I always did. I thought it was recycling was a good thing, but what I've learned the hard way is these smaller shops that you don't get paid until it sells. Well, it's an opportunity to sit on the floor for someone to go in to find that piece. Whereas a shop that is turning over things quickly and is bigger, might be a safer bet. But what people can do is they take those items that once belonged to a person, and then they could say, then they'll put on an altar and they'll say, I'm going to put on, poverty on this person or disfavor, or I want to break up their marriage. I want to keep them in perpetual solitude and singleness. Or I want to pronounce death. They're going to take items of a person and bury it in a graveyard. A graveyard is a very common thing that people do, or they'll take graveyard dirt, and then they'll lay that and mix it, and who knows what they do. But this is just what I've heard. Or they'll lay body odor on a person and say this person will have disfavor. No one will want to be around this person because they'll have some strange smell. Or they'll have, they'll just try to do all kinds of evil, wicked things. And the way to break that is to pray and to fast and pray and find out, exactly ask God what it is and where it came from, and then break that. Um, my lesson is to take items to a kind of a larger scale thrift store where they have a high turnover and people can't find that stuff. And in some instances, throw the stuff in the trash, cut it up and put it in the trash. Does that not mean that someone can't go into your trash and pull that out? Absolutely, they can do that. Um, I would say use discernment. Anything is possible. But yeah, my understanding is three primary methods of cursing a person is through they've summoned a grave, or they're using something called horns, which is written about in the book of Zechariah in the Bible, evil horns, which are trying to prevent a person from lifting up their head, from rising up in life. Or three, witchcraft, which I know is a broad term, but that's what a minister in Africa said, is those who came out of the occult world. So I want to talk a little bit more about graves. So they could take a person's items to a grave, lay curses, and try to bury, they bury destinies in graves. There's necromancy in the grave, sleeping with dead people. There's all kinds of things to bring people into bondage, to bring politicians into bondage, to bring countries into bondage. There's all kinds of things, but graves are a big thing that people in the occult world use. So that's why I just say be very careful where your clothing goes. If obviously if it's new with tags and you've never worn it before, it's no big deal, right? But things you've used, anything that you've used that's come from your house is an opportunity to lay a curse on a person. If it's in the hands of the wrong person, even giving it to a person that's a friend or family member, if you don't know that they're secretly practicing witchcraft, because witchcraft only works when it's in the darkness. So once it's exposed, once it's in light, that's their rule. Like that they'll try and take people out for exposing them. So Oftentimes there will be members of a family who are involved and others who are not, and those people who are not will not be told what they're doing. They won't know, a family member is a witch, a warlock, an occultist. And so you really have to pray about these things and ask for discernment and be conscious of where your things go. And I hope this helps you. Again, I've learned the hard way, so I want to share with others so that others may not, make that mistake. And, if you're looking for a job or have some health issues, or something hasn't been going right, really pray about, what that source is. It could be a personal items in the hands of the wrong person. And, you'll want to ask for restoration. Psalm 81 is a good one for restoration. The book of Joel, restore the years the locusts had stolen, had eaten, is a good one. There are a variety of great scriptures in the Bible about restoration. And, once you just ask God to break these things, to separate you, plead the blood on those items, and separate the connection points with the sword of the Spirit, and then ask for restoration. And you may need to pray about it more than once. It may need to be like a few days of fasting and prayer. All right. Thanks for listening, and God bless you.